There
But
you
yes,
go. It started.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, without further ado, I appreciate you having me, and I appreciate all of you for attending. This shouldn't be an extremely long conversion process, but I mean, I'm certainly willing to answer any questions that anyone may have. I know that we're kind of pushing towards lunch right now, so um, I appreciate you joining me. I'm going to begin by sharing my screen. I'm going to go through two different processes. One, we're going to go through where we have no content in our original course, and then I'm going to go through one where we do have some content. So the first thing that I'd like to bring your attention to is if we open up this class that does not have any content, you'll see that we do not have this pencil icon. Now, there are two reasons that this might happen. One of which is when the course was created, it was created with original only. The second would be that the course is not made private. So in order to begin the conversion process, we are going to need to make this course private. And once we do that, you'll see that this pencil icon is now here, and we can begin the conversion process. So once I click this, it says experience in Ultra course view. I'll click that button, and it is going to kick me out to the course landing page. And you will receive an email once it is complete. And so depending on the size of the course, it could take a few minutes. If there are a lot of courses being converted at the same time, it could take even longer. But I did just receive that email. So if I refresh my screen, we'll see that we are in Ultra preview mode. Now from here, we can go ahead and use the Ultra course, or we can begin building content. So if I wanted to create a folder, a module, a link, anything like that, I have the opportunity to do so, and that will stick with the course if I were to use the Ultra course itself. So once I've finished, and I can add files, again, we'll go ahead and create one so you can see what that'll be like. And I can make that accessible to students, or I can keep it hidden. And from here, I can create my LTI links, I can create my documents, I can create another folder if I'm going to use one particular folder for assignments, I can add tests and everything like that. If you had stuck around and saw Kimmy, she did a wonderful job of presenting how to navigate Ultra courses. So from here, I'm going to select use the Ultra course. Now, it will permanently switch to Ultra, and afterwards you will not be able to return to the original course view. So make sure that you have everything backed up if you are using content and whatnot. So from here, this is what the students will see. I can begin creating more items. I can, of course, view the entire course in student preview mode. And I mean, from here, this is pretty much the gist of a course without content. So now if we were to go and choose a course that does have content, as you can see on the navigation bar, I have my syllabus, my announcements, the course schedule, some course materials. Again, we're going to make sure that we are in private, that the course is unavailable to students. And we're going to take the same steps. We're going to hit this pencil icon here. And again, we're going to have this pop-up menu. So this course might take a few additional minutes. Well, maybe not a few additional minutes, but it might take a second more or so. But from here, I do want to bring your attention to kind of these drop-down menus that might help you as you're kind of navigating. So you can break down your view into semesters. If you have any Ultra training courses, they'll pop up here. If you have any original training courses, they'll populate here as well. You can filter your courses by what you're taking, what you're teaching. If your courses are open, if they're private, if they're completed, you'll be able to see that. You also have this favorite bar right here. So as you're going through and you're taking classes or you're teaching classes, make sure to utilize that. And another thing that I want to bring your attention to, as we go to make our courses private or to open them, sometimes you hit this hide course icon. If that happens, a filter will be created that shows hidden from me. And then you can come back here and you can show that course and it will populate back onto your front page. Now, another thing that I'd like to show you is these color icons here. You can tell what's an original course because it'll be grayed out. And then you can tell what will be an original course because you'll have the color flags right next to it. So we'll go back to our course conversion here. As you can see, this is how it was brought over. All of the content's kind of laid out. It does keep the settings that you had previously had. So as you can see, this was hidden from students, and that is how it was brought over. Again, I could still begin to create my class if I wanted to see how it would look at the end of it. I can also, where's it at? See what items are not supported. So what may not have been brought over, it'll break it down by low priority, medium priority, and high priority. Now, just because you see some caution flags and some icons, I mean, obviously I don't have any here, but if you were to see those, that doesn't mean that those items were not brought over. It may have changed the formatting. And I mean, if it wasn't brought over, it would of course be a high priority icon. So another interesting thing about Ultra is I know that in original, you can have folders inside of folders inside of folders. And if you have that, so if you have a course module folder broken down with module 1 broken into another folder that has activities, it's not going to convert into Ultra that way because Ultra only permits 2 levels of folders. So what you'll want to make sure of is that you move that course module or that module 1 in the activity folder out of that. That way it does kind of convert properly. So we will go ahead and convert the course. And as you can see, I mean, all of my items are still here. I still have my course syllabus. Here's my availability calendar for the course schedule. And this is just KCTCS's availability. And then I have some PowerPoints that I created, and they open just as they would in original. So, and then as you can see, we have the accessibility scores. And if that was in the red or in the yellow, again, we'd want to go through and make sure that we are adhering to ADA compliancy. So you can actually click the icon and it will tell you what you need to work on and where you are as far as your ADA compliancy. And then one final note that I want to make clear is make sure that if you are converting when you do have content, that you do back it up, because we don't want you to lose any content that might be formatted in a different way. So just as best practice, make sure that that's backed up. Also, do not convert any in-progress courses because you could lose important information. You can lose course messages. You could potentially lose some grades if they don't convert properly. So just make sure, again, that everything's backed up. And then once converted, again, you're not going to be able to revert back to original. So again, best practice, just make sure that everything's backed up. And if you do go through this, and instead, if I didn't say, take me to Ultra, keep me in original, anything that I might have created while I was in the screen will be lost. And you'll get kicked back to the original screen, and it'll say, you'll get an email saying that the delete operation was successful. Don't freak out, because it's not deleting that course. It's just kind of deleting that particular preview and is reverting back to that original view. And I mean, like I said, this isn't a huge undergoing of a process. Just make sure that you're doing your due diligence of making sure that everything's correctly backed up, and that you're kind of reading all of the icons that Ultra permits. But other than that, if there are any questions, I'll be more than happy to field them.
We have a question in the chat that says original has many more question types. When converted to Ultra, there are fewer question types. How are my original types not present in Ultra converted?
So that's when you'll get that high priority, if there is a particular unsupported question type that is not being brought over. And bear with me, I did have a list of all of the unsupported question types, but I can tell you what will convert, and that's essays, fill in the blanks, fill in multiple choice, matching, multiple answered questions, true, false. Those are all going to be brought over. And let me see. Unsupported items will be, I might have to do a little bit more digging into that, because I mean, of course, Blackboard is always enhancing Ultra, so things could have changed, and I don't want to misrepresent a list of what may or may not convert. So let me get back to you, and I will let you know the unsupported question types.
If you have other questions, feel free to come off the chat or to raise your hand, and I can take you all, come off mute. Okay, we've got some questions in the chat. Can I copy just portions of my Learn course into an Ultra course?
So if you do the course copy feature, yes, you can. I can begin sharing my screen again. Apologies. Let me bring up my screen. So if I were to go to an Ultra test course, or I can go back to a converted one, sorry. So if I come here to my content, I can click the little ellipses and I can copy content, and it's going to pull up all of my courses and organizations. And then from here, I can sub-filter these categories and choose whichever particular assignment I would like to, or I can choose the entire course itself. Does that answer your question, Kim? Perfect. And thank you, Amy. I see that you had added the list of what we'll import correctly, so I appreciate that. How did you prepare for the folder cleanup? Did you just move them out of general course areas? Tina, what could you explain what you mean by that, please? with the nested folders. Where did I put those? So the folders were brought over. So this was the main module tab that you saw on the very left. And then these were the individual contents that were in those particular folders. So I just added them to the content area of this career information module. Is that what you mean? Oh, sorry. Okay, I got you. I actually did not create a triple folder, but yes, I would just move that entire module out of that particular content area to make sure that in my example, I used course modules, module 1 and activities. I would move that module 1 out of that top level folder because it's going to bring that nested activities folder with it. So as long as that is outside of that courses module content folder, both of those would correctly convert. Does that answer your question? No, that was a great question. I like to get the wheels turning in my brain. And then if anyone has any additional questions, I will add my email down here. Feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to assist you any way that I can.
Are there any more questions? I'm not seeing anything in the chat right now, so thank you, Christopher, for sharing your expertise with us, and thank you everyone for being here.
Absolutely. I appreciate everyone's time. And again, if you all need anything, don't hesitate to reach out.